evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining Equinoxe Television. You're on to the primetime newscast on Equinoxe, live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. It is 6 p.m. in Gazawa, that's in the far north region of Cameroon. It is the same time in Bakingili, one of the villages of the West Coast subdivision. We are in the Fako division of the southwest region of Cameroon. In our top stories in this evening's edition of the news, we tell you that Bar Evry has become the 14th president of the Cameroon Bar Association. He got over 1,285 votes in an election in Yaoundé to become the new bâtonnier. Also in this edition of the news, we shall be taking you to the devastating effects of the heavy downpour on the seaside resort city of Limbe. Taxi drivers are crying. Other international news editions. Of course, in this edition of the news, you want to know what Christians are going through in Nigeria. Armed men have decided that no more Christianity in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Again, an attack on the church. This time around, 3 persons shot dead in a Catholic and a Baptist church. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we thank you for choosing to get information on Equinoxe Television. We live on our primetime newscast. It is a 7 p.m., the 6 p.m. newscast. We live from Douala. We begin with the major news story across Cameroon today. It is breaking. It is coming from the nation's political capital city, Yaoundé. The election of the new bâtonnier. On your screens, jubilations at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex, where the election of the new bâtonnier has been ongoing. It started over the weekend, and today finally coming with the election of Barrister Mba Eric, who got elected as the president of the Cameroon Bar Association. Mba Eric becomes the 14th president of the Cameroon Bar Association. He was elected at the elective General Assembly that, as I indicated, began since a weekend in Yaoundé. It was a tense election, and of course, the man, Mba Eric, is the man you're going to be seeing on your screens. Of course, the picture of Mba Eric, you want to know who is the new bâtonnier of Cameroon, that is the Cameroon Bar Association. He is the man on your screen. As I indicated, it's been a tense and tight election exercise in Yaoundé. Apart from Mba Eric, we had other contenders, and as far as the final results are concerned, Mba Eric on your screen secured 1,285 votes, and his immediate challenger was Memon Philippe. Barrister Memon Philippe voted by 965 lawyers in Cameroon, and on the third position, Barrister Justice Ntoko, who got 210 votes, and on the last position, that is on the fourth position, we had Barrister Titanji Ernest, who was voted by 75 voters in the election in Yaoundé. And in the following extracts, we shall be listening to the immediate reaction of Mba Eric, the new bâtonnier. He reacted shortly after his election, his victory in Yaoundé. That was the atmosphere at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex shortly after the announcement of the name, the new Tony and Ba Eric, we shall be coming back to the biography of the man who's become the 14th president of Cameroon Bar Association in the course of this newscast, and also the expectations from the new man to decide the affairs of legal minds in Cameroon. We had the opportunity to talk to some lawyers in the city of Douala. Their reactions were compiled by Innocent, as we shall be coming back to it subsequently. Time for us to go human interest to talk about the impact of the heavy downpour that rocked the economic capital city Douala, but also the seaside resort city of Limbe, that's in the Fako of the southwest region of Cameroon. It left a devastating impact. A taxi driver almost got killed or swept away by the heavy runoffs in the city of Limbe. He was saved by the local inhabitants. His car, however, was allowed to be taken by the heavy waters. We have details with our correspondent in Limbe. He is David Simaimo.
A taxi driver is reported to have cheated death after the taxi was swept off a flooded bridge around the Cassava Farm Lonesome neighborhood, thanks to the population who rescued the driver from drowning.
No go here. They go enter. One realize then we knock just now that they come out. Like if it's on a different thing, I got.
Medical personnel, patients and other persons could not easily access the Integrated Health Center PMI as the hospital was flooded.
They struggle with them move so they struggle for move we not enter inside ward for patient. They struggle for move.
Report of minor landslide around the Bakoko quarters was also recorded with no human casualties. The heavy rains caused some part of the city of Limbe to be inundated, especially the Manga Williams Avenue and the Down Beach vicinity as a whole. Generally, material damage due to the heavy rains is enormous. Despite effort from the Limbe City Council to clean the rivers and free the gutters from debris, some experts opine the narrowness of the river due to poor construction of houses, using the waterway to dump household refuse, and the poor implementation of a proper drainage system are just some of the key factors of the constant yearly flooding in Limbe.
David Simaimo reporting from Limbe, and inhabitants of the Luther Samba neighborhood have peacefully demonstrated on the streets to ask for the regional council to leave their lands in that part of the country. These inhabitants say the regional council went to the street and decided to take their land. The people are not comfortable with the decision of the regional council. The report from Timbimba Day is compiled by Smartjic and Gabriel.
Of Ntitambatu in the east region of Cameroon are angry. They are accusing the regional council of stealing their land. Our community was first of all approached for us to see 20 hectares of land that will host the structure of the regional council. For some time now, some unidentified individuals have been entering our land, claiming that the state will need 400 hectares of land, which in other words, they want the entire land of Ntitambatu.
400 hectares, c'est la quasi-totalité des terres de la communauté de Tindambadé.
In order to construct their main building, the regional council has obtained in the Paul Luther Samba neighborhood a site measuring 400 hectares, which is a public utility area. This wasn't accepted by the people of Ntitambatu. Reasons for the protest of these people in front of their quarterhead. Presently, if they are removed from here, where will they go? I went personally to meet with the president of the regional council, and he told me what it was all about. During a press conference with media organs in the East region, the president of the regional council refuted allegations of them seizing lands from the inhabitants. We have some projects for the zone concerned, and we have asked from the state already. They should be patient and wait, because for now, no land have been taken from anyone.
qu'ils attendent. Pour l'instant, personne ne leur a arraché 1 mètre carré de leur terrain.
More than 100 people are concerned with the said piece of land at the Paul Luther Samba neighborhood, with a majority not having proofs of land title. According to the regional council president of the East, it's just manipulation.
Visiblement, sans titre de propriété.
Visibly, without a land title, they think they can manipulate others with misinformation for people to think we are in a procedure that has not been authorized.
Pour que l'on fasse croire notamment que nous sommes dans une procédure qui n'est pas régulière.
While waiting, a committee that has been put up by the senior divisional officer is at work. It is only after it that those with land titles will be compensated for them to leave.
And the question of why delays in the execution of public investments projects in different parts of Cameroon is dividing opinion leaders, especially those of the political class, while those within the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPT and political party, think that it is delayed as a result of the delay in disbursement. Those of the opposition believe that all that are factors and fallout of corruption that, according to them, is enshrined in the DNA of those of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPT and political party. Their views crisscrossed in the following report by Equinoxe.
Annual voting of the public investment budget in Parliament is often accompanied by several announced projects, usually witnessing a drop in their execution rate as drafted in the 2021 balance sheet. The Minister of the Economy evokes persistent challenges, justifications which do not convince the political class. Jean-Baptiste Atemenge, Mayor of Ngumu, also a CBZM communicator, advances delay in the disbursement of funds for the commencement and execution of earmarked projects.
Le budget fonctionnement.
According to him, this is the reason why the Ngumu District Hospital has never been able to function smoothly, worsened by the fact that it has never benefited from a public investment budget for 10 years.
Mais si vous n'avez pas de budget de fonctionnement, il fonctionne comment?
Barrister Roland Diewu of the CRM party highlights corruption to be the cankerworm preventing realization of projects, since the envisaged public budget is not effectively invested.
Prenons acte.
He says the issue is poor governance by government authorities.
Ce pays, nous avons un État qui fait face au même type de problème et qui n'arrive pas à trouver des solutions.
Political analyst Aristide Mono, on his part, demands the Yaoundé regime to look into its failures rather than attacking those complaining of no or inadequate financial resources.
Ce n'est pas Mono.
He tells the government to hunt contractors who have collected money and abandoned projects willed to them on basis of their patriotism and good faith.
Patriotisme, ultra-patriotisme de M. Atemenge, mais au final, ils abandonnent les chantiers.
The security crisis in some regions, abandonment of projects, weak maturation of projects, to mention but these, are some persistent justifiable factors of the drop in the public investment budget execution rate.
Away from that, let's take you to the southwest region of Cameroon, back to Limbe, but this time around to talk an event that brought together representatives from some 10 African countries who are including Cameroon and who converge in Limbe in the southwest region of Cameroon for a career fair to see how they can address some problems plaguing the African continent, issues that are directly affecting the youth in Africa. Innocent as a rather Derek in the following report tells us that the winners at the end of the fair came from Ghana in West Africa.
Africa as a continent should take the economic driving seat of the world.
And we can only start doing that by, engaging in it. We cannot keep talking and dreaming. They will have to take actions to make it work.
Addressing a group of African students, Honoré Bernard, holder of a postgraduate diploma in international law, Trade policy and development also added that the potentials are there in the continent.
In 2050 maximum, 40% of the youth of the world will be African. And this is a great tool for the global environment.
And this active population says they are aware of the African problem, and most of them here are with the opinion that the way out is through agriculture.
Agriculture should be the only way we can change, and that is our value. We identify ourselves there.
But there is another problem: access to land.
If I come from a family where my grandfather did not keep land for me, then I should forget about that. I don't know how the government, or with the help of CDC, can promote such youth who are really willing to turn back into agriculture, but is limited with land resources. How can we have access to land? That's the problem.
And for its first time, the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, an innovative Pan-African center in Limbe, recently brought together a college of stakeholders, both from the public and private sectors and drawn from over 10 African countries, including Cameroon, for a career fair, during which these international students engage in a 3-minute thesis to showcase how this institute use mathematical science knowledge to statistically solve African problems.
We have a responsibility to be able to understand the science and environment, and the way that we do this is through mathematics.
We use the data sets from industry, we use the data sets from governmental institutions and from other partners, and we make sure that with the help of those partners, we're able to define problems that our students can work on.
And I'm a Ghanaian, but although Ghana didn't.
And 3 winners were awarded at the end of the day: 2 Nigerians and Melvis Amoadat Ziza from Ghana, emerging the overall winner.
The family members of a girl who was beaten, violated, molested by her female folks and stripped naked, then sent to the street of Buea in the southwest region, asking for justice for their daughter. They were speaking to men and women of the press in Buea for the first time after the unfortunate incident. We have details with Derek Jato.
This is the first time Marinette is appearing in public, weeks after she was stripped naked, beaten, and substances injected into her in the Moleko neighborhood in Buea, the southwest regional capital. Her lawyer, Barrister Loktabo Evans Tingom, says he just brought her directly from the hospital. A certain Equinoxe led a group of 3 girls who carried out the assault on the grounds that Marinette is winning the attention of her boyfriend. Talking to the media, Marinette narrated the horror she went through.
Came with a bottle. They brought out multiple sticks. They asked me that if I don't naked my body, they will choke me here and throw my body outside. Nobody will look at me. They do me videos. They asked me to lie down. All of them were beating me, all of them. They rubbed the paper on the stick, get it inside my vagina.
And the act is a criminal offense before the law, and legal measures have been taken. Barrister Loktabo Evans Tingom briefed the media.
There is all sorts of news over social media that she's already at the verge of being bribed to withdraw the case in court. And let me tell you, she only has right to withdraw by the civil aspect of her case. The criminal aspect lies within the government. And with the nature of the offense and the intervention of social media, it will be a negative criminal travels to even think of withdrawing the case.
The family of Marinette is calling for justice.
Look and say, no person, any person will not get power past law inside Cameroon. So I mean, you can say, how did you don't do for now? Our only way how law will work on it.
Equinoxe, in a video sent on social media, begged for forgiveness.
Sorry, I'm begging you. I was pleading me that even it's my phone, they should take it away. There's money in my bag, they should even take it away and they should send me money. They say no.
I pleaded with her to forgive me, but she denied. She will join her voice with that of her family to call for justice. At the moment, the matter is before the Court of First Instance here in Boya. The defendants are at the Boya Central Prison, awaiting trial.
To the 14th presidency of the Cameroon Bar Association, we take you to the very first reaction of the man, the new Bartonian Bar Eric. He spoke to the men and women of the press after his election. Immediately in Yaoundé, we are still at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. Take a listen to him. The extract is selected by Innocent Asa.
They don't have a head office. The second thing is that there are only 15 bar council members to manage close to...
Made by senior barrister Memon Philip.
Ubuntu!
It sets the spirit, it sets the stage for our unity and the way forward for us to work together. Dear learned colleagues, we have come to the end of a very vigorous election. An election during which a lot of punches were given below the belt, a lot of irregularities were done. We wish to say, like every other human endeavor, this was equally not a perfect process. It had its own shortcomings. We will only be able to promise that we will improve on them with the passage of time. Amen. I wish to call on each and every one of us that I do not stand here today as the winner of this election. I am just the representative of the bar, who is truly the winner of this election. Ubuntu. I said it. We are more respected. We are stronger when we are united. Exactly. I wish on behalf of my team that we went around battling, soliciting for your votes. I know from me.
That is the 14th president of the Cameroon Bar Association, Barrister Mba Every Day, elected at the end of a very tight electoral process in Yaoundé. I told you that it began some months ago, but the voting proper started since Saturday in Yaoundé, and as of yesterday, Cameroonians got information of the election of the president of the General Assembly of the bar in Cameroon. And before the official announcement of the winner in the city of Douala, we hooked up with a barrister Ashu Julius, who had time to tell us on what the expectations from the new Bartonier are and the challenges of being at the head of such a powerful institution. We have his reaction compiled or selected by Innocent Asa.
I don't have a head office. The second thing is that there are only 15 bar council members to manage close to 3,700 lawyers. It used to be 15 members in the 70s, and the same 15 members now. It's not possible for them to run the bar. It's going to be very tedious for them, for only 15 people to run the bar as it is. Then thirdly, the government is not helping us much. They take the bar to be an opponent instead of being the major consultant of the state. If you notice, the state prefers to appoint magistrates. Meanwhile, magistrates don't have the same experiences that we lawyers have because we are more exposed. They are dogmatic, they were trained and to function in a particular manner. But we are liberal. But the government never uses lawyers until it becomes very, very, very bad. We realize that the government spends approximately 6 billion every year for litigation. I can bet you the bar doesn't see 1% of that. Where is the money going to? The first thing any lawyer expects from the new Bar Council president, we expect that he should ensure that a lawyer can have food on his table. We have a problem, for example, emoluments. The law provides that lawyers have a right to emoluments, which is money that magistrates, they benefit from already. Registrars, they benefit from. We are part and parcel of the legal system. Why are we not benefiting from it too? This is one of the biggest expectations that we are waiting from the new Bar president. Secondly, the accountants secured the profession and they have a monopoly over accounting in Cameroon. Whether you like it or not, the day you create a company or you want to do tax returns and those things, you need an accountant. And how do they secure their association? It's through the OHADA Treaty, which is now an international convention that these OHADA Treaty signatories have to apply locally. We only need to say, in any OHADA Treaty related matter, you must have a lawyer who will have work. And that will help the evolution of that treaty. Because if lawyers don't put their heads to bring in ideas to help the judges render justice, the law will never evolve. Because if you whether you like it or not, we have the judges of the bench, we have the judges of the state council's office, the magistrates of state council office, and we have the registrars and the lawyers. If we together, these various groupings don't work together, law never evolves. But we realize that lawyers have been pushed away from it. Well, it's not supposed to be like that. You remember from the one I said we are supposed to be the main consultants of the state. It means that most of the laws that go to the parliament, for example, they should always seek the opinion of the bar.
Speaking to Innocent in the city of Douala, now we take you to a third page. You say that Maurice Njume, a musical icon in Cameroon, is no more. He died at age 61 after suffering from e-health for a considerable period. We have details on the man, the musician Maurice Njume, in the following report of Lori Mala.
The death of the renowned artist Maurice Njume has provoked other Cameroonian musicians to regret the fact that value is being given to artists in Cameroon only after their death.
But I'm very angry of this situation, because in our country there's a kind of behavior that wants people to realize the importance of our artists just when they are dead.
Maurice Njume, a Makossa artist, became famous with his hit song Meimuna, released in 1989 with a contribution of Toto Guillaume and Alaji Touré. Sick for 2 weeks from a road accident, and after visiting several hospitals in vain, the artist died in the Konsamba hospital. Our father is truly dead. It's been 2 weeks that he became seriously sick. We took him from the Konsamba hospital to Douala to continue his treatment. There he was operated upon, but the situation worsened. He stopped breathing. He leaves behind family members, friends, and Cameroonian artists in general to mourn him.
At least 3 Christians have died and an unspecified numbers kidnapped in the Kajura area of Kaduna State in the next Federal Republic of Nigeria, and a new wave of violence leaves 20 civilians dead on Sunday in Kidal, that's a locality in northern Mali. We have our details in the following international news roundup by our staff lady, Immaculate Fogwe.
The bandits stormed villages in Kajura area of Kaduna State on motorcycles. 3 Christians of the Maratana Baptist Church and St. Moses Catholic Church were murdered and 2 persons injured. An unspecified number of persons were also kidnapped, shops looted, with several houses destroyed. The police are yet to confirm those behind the attack. This attack comes 2 weeks after 30 worshippers were killed in the town of Owo in Ondo State, Nigeria. In the northern part of Mali, precisely in Kidal, near the city of Gao, 20 civilians and a peacekeeper were killed by armed criminals. The deteriorating security situation has been strongly condemned by the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. The jihadist-led movement are suspected of having orchestrated the attack. Meantime, the head of the junta in Guinea, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, dismisses one of his soldiers, Lieutenant Colonel Ibrahim Keita, who was serving as a senior divisional officer of Singiri, after a video of him cutting the hair of 2 candidates writing the baccalaureate examination went viral on social media. Several calls were made for his dismissal. The now former senior divisional officer justifies himself by evoking the fact that it is for the good of the children who will become ministers and executives in future.
And that brings us to the end of the primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We thank you for your keen attention. We believe you had a wonderful stay in the company of this edition of news. Still with Equinoxe, news will continue at 6 p.m. You will have a full newscast, rather 8 p.m. a full newscast in the French language, but you shall be having Equinoxe just right ahead. Still with Equinoxe. I shall be back tomorrow.